Acknowledge first and foremost my good friend Minister Goyal, and I can tell you when Todd and I go round the world and we get to meet lots of different leaders, we have a lot of fun with Minister Goyal. He's the one we look for because he brings the energy. He takes his job seriously. He's a really tough negotiator. Everyone in the world wants to deal with him, from the Americans to the Europeans to everybody. So when he said he's coming to New Zealand and he got off the plane at 1 o'clock this afternoon, I said to my team, I want to be there. I want to come and see him because he's my friend. And he's Todd and my mate, and so we really enjoy spending time with him. And along the way, we'll have some chats about the FTA, but we'll probably talk about cricket and some other things that he'll give us grief on as well. Can I just acknowledge our awesome High Commissioner from India, Her Excellency Nida Bhushan. Nida, I want to say congratulations because you facilitated an awesome visit to India earlier in the year. And I say this every time I see you, you are everywhere. And you really are a bridge between New Zealand and India. We so appreciate everything that you do for this community. We really, really do. So well done, you. And can I also acknowledge Dr. Madan Mohan Sethi, who's settled into life in Auckland very, very quickly in a very short period of time. And sir, you are everywhere as well, and we appreciate the role that you play. And just huge admiration for how you've come to New Zealand and settled in so quickly. And can I just acknowledge my good friend Todd McClay, because I think we have on the stage here the two best trade ministers in the world, to put it mildly. Both of them super experienced, and he's incredible. He's on the planes 365 days a year. I often don't get to see him, but that's the brief that we had at the very beginning. Get out and about in the world, and he's doing the job incredibly well. And that's why I call him Trade McClay, not Todd McClay, as we go forward from here. So, and can I say to all of you, all the dignitaries in the room, all the big community leaders that are here, thank you so much for coming along to acknowledge Minister Goyal and the work that he's doing to bridge the relationship between our two great countries. As you know, we've celebrated Diwali just recently, and I've seen a lot of you at different Diwali occasions up and down the country. And I want to say, what a time for the world to receive the message of Diwali. You know, it's a really important and difficult and challenging time in the world, and the central message of Diwali is more relevant than ever before. But each year in New Zealand, Diwali events are getting bigger and bigger because we have a strong, passionate, diverse Indian community that is actually making it so. And I hope that each and every one of you here are very proud, very, very proud of the enormous contribution that you continue to make and have made to New Zealand, economically, socially, and culturally, across the whole gamut and the whole strata of life here in New Zealand. You have enriched us tremendously, and New Zealand is a better country today because of your contribution. And I say to you that you have made New Zealand a multicultural country, full of hopeful, hard-working people, with a very positive outlook on life, who have actually a determination to do well for yourselves and your families and your communities. And I know and I see how incredibly hard you work. And I say this every time I meet this community, because I see you take on 2 jobs, 3 jobs to get that deposit for your first house or for your first business, so that your kids get to have an opportunity that's better than the one that you had. And I want to say you are an outstanding role model to all New Zealanders and an inspiration for all New Zealanders. And all I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you. I believe we have the best country on earth. Sorry, Minister Goyal, but I do. I honestly do. Maybe India's number 2, but I just say we do. And we have so much potential in this awesome country of ours. But part of the way we will realise all that potential is by deepening and broadening our relationship with India. As Prime Minister Modi and I said together, these are 2 countries that should have a much broader, deeper relationship. We have so much in common in terms of our values and our thoughts about the world, and we want to make sure that we deepen this relationship up big time. And that's why we went to India earlier in the year with the biggest delegation we've ever taken anywhere overseas. I think we had 40 business representatives, 15 community representatives. I think we had 3 cabinet ministers, 4 MPs and a Kapa Haka group and a bunch of officials alongside with us as well. And that was all about us wanting to step change our relationship with India because we value that relationship incredibly highly. And so we had a very packed program in New Delhi and also in Mumbai, and it was incredible. We got to look at all aspects of our relationship and how we could take it forward. And some of you will know that in my former life, before I came to politics 4 or 5 years ago, I spent a lot of my time at Unilever. And Unilever had a very large business in India called Hindustan Lever. And of course, every time I go to India, I am struck by the innovation, the dynamism, the passion, the determination, the aspiration that you see. And it was no different this time when I came back home from the Prime Minister's delegation. You know the story. It's an incredible story, India. It's the fastest growing economy in the G20. Yep. It's not long ago we used to say it's the 7th biggest economy in the world, but it's going to be the 3rd biggest economy in the world in just a matter of years. And this is startling. There is now 445 million people in the middle class of India. And when I sat down with Prime Minister Modi, we talked about the progress that I had seen, because I've been going to India probably since in my early mid-20s, and I've gone many, many times, and every time I just see this country just go forward and just relentlessly going forward, and it's so inspiring. But over the last decade, just some facts for you, 250 million people, 250 million people, have been lifted out of poverty and into the middle classes. That's a phenomenal achievement. The number, as an aviation guy, the number of airports has doubled in that 10-year period. There's 157. I think Prime Minister Modi suggested he might want another 150 in the next 5 years. So there's huge growth happening in aviation. And this is astounding. Over the last 10 years, India's built 95,000 kilometres of roading in India. And just to put that into a little bit of perspective, that is like literally going from New Zealand to India 8 times. So that's a lot of roads. And that's why when I come back home to New Zealand, I say it'd be really nice if we could build some roads here in New Zealand too. Even at half that rate, I'd be very pleased to do so. So India is a consequential country now, right? It is a geopolitical power. It has huge voice in the world, and it makes sense for New Zealand and India to build out a deeper relationship, given the complementary economies we have and the unitary approach that we have within our societies. And that's why Minister Goyal and Macleay and Prime Minister Modi and myself said, let's commit to actually exploring and deepening our trade links between our two great countries. And so our government, and I know Prime Minister Modi's the same, we want to grow our economy and want to lift our wages and our standard of living for our peoples both in India and New Zealand. We have common goals around that. And the negotiations between these two fine gentlemen is designed to actually create higher incomes, more jobs for our people in both countries. But our partnerships also beyond trade. We have been deepening up our defence and security ties. In fact, we've done a number of defence and military exercises together, India and New Zealand, across the region, which has been really special and fantastic to see. And of course, our relationship goes into our people-to-people links as well. And as I kept saying to Prime Minister Modi, he should be so proud of the diaspora that is here in New Zealand. Because, as he said, when I explained to him that actually, the Indian community here has actually higher incomes, is often more successful and higher jobs and better educated than the average New Zealander. He said this is a fantastic diaspora, and it's one that is, as he called it, a living bridge between our two countries. And I think that's exactly the role that all of you play in the community and in the business. So I'll end it there, but to say we have a fantastic amount of potential between India and New Zealand. These are two fantastically awesome countries, and we want to do everything we can as the political leaders to make sure that we are advancing and moving our countries forward. And we've seen and been inspired by the progress in India. Just think about that moon landing on the south pole of the moon. I watched that video about a couple months ago again. That was phenomenal. First time any country's landed something on the south side of the moon. So we really want to make sure that we advance these two bits. But I just want to say tonight, a very, very warm welcome to Minister Goyal. Thank you, mate, for everything that you've got going on in your world and in your brain to come all the way down and see us here in New Zealand. We so appreciate what you're doing to advance the relations between our two great countries. So welcome to Aotearoa, New Zealand. Kia ora, as we say, and enjoy your next few days in the country as well. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for giving a very thoughtful message to the larger Indian Kiwi community. May I request my invite also, Honourable Minister Todd Macleay, to give a short remark.
Well, namaste, shasharek kal, kia ora, good evening, everybody. Prime Minister, thank you for honouring us with your presence here this evening. What the Prime Minister didn't tell you is that he had to leave Parliament early. Parliament is in session at the moment, and our parliamentary work is extremely important, but he decided this was more important to come and see you and to welcome my good friend Piyush Goyal. And Minister Goyal, Piyush, we first met each other within weeks of the election when Christopher Luxon became New Zealand's Prime Minister. He gave me the great honour of becoming New Zealand's Trade Minister, and I had made a commitment before the election at a very large summit, a conference here with the New Zealand Indian business community, that if we formed a government, I was the Trade Minister, I would visit India within the first 3 months, the first 90 days of forming the government. And I think less than a week after I became minister, I was on a plane, I met with Minister Goyal. We flew all the way there overnight. We got there in the morning, I had meetings all day, we met in the evening and spoke, and then I got on a plane and flew all the way back to New Zealand. And it shows you that India and New Zealand are much closer than people tell you when you try to book your air ticket. Time we've met in person. I think I've had the privilege of visiting India 5 times now. He's invited me back. I'll be there next week to go and speak at an international conference on trade that he is hosting. In fact, I've been in India so much that many of my colleagues, Prime Minister, asked if I have an apartment there, and I have taken Indian citizenship. And I said, we'll add that to the FTA. Yes, I want it. We'll do it. But Piyush, thank you so much for your friendship and your commitment. Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Luxon, when they met in March of this year, told Piyush and I to do a job, to make the links between our two countries as strong as they have ever been, to show the world that when the world's largest democracy and one of the world's smallest democracies come together, great things can happen. So thank you, Piyush, for visiting us with your lovely wife. He's brought a delegation of 50 businesses with him, I think the largest delegation ever to visit New Zealand or New Zealand and Australia. And we are taking the responsibility that Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Luxon gave us extremely seriously. We're going to work as hard as we can to make sure that we grow those links, that more young New Zealanders can visit India and learn about the culture, enjoy the people, and bring the experiences home. And so many more young Indians can have an opportunity to come to New Zealand, see our country, to get a good education, to get experience, and then go home and take it and help build the nation. Piyush, you're so very welcome here. Thank you for visiting us. Thank you for your commitment and your friendship. And when I'm there next week, he said he's going to take me out in Delhi to start looking for an apartment. Kia ora.
Thank you, sir. May I now sincerely invite Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, to share his thoughts with the Indian diaspora. Sir.
Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Christopher Luxon, truly a big honor that you have given to all of us, the Indian community, and me personally, by joining us on this event. We are very grateful to you. Thank you so much for the love and affection that you have showered on all of us, and for truly demonstrating how important the New Zealand-India friendship and relationship is for all of us. Thank you so much for being here with us, and this shall really be memorable for all my brothers and sisters here, and for me personally. Minister Todd is more than just the Minister of New Zealand. He's like my brother, a dear friend. We've got to know each other extremely well. And I think if this deal has got to be done, it's got to be done, right? That's the to-do spirit that I have seen in him. And I'm really grateful for all the effort that has gone into it, the amount of sincere work that Minister Todd has led from the front, and very grateful for his hosting me in New Zealand, for the wonderful reception that I have received so far. And I'm sure that all my colleagues who have joined me from India, from the business community, from the media, they would all have witnessed the coming of age of a relationship between two vibrant democracies, two countries who believe in the spirit of freedom, inclusive growth, sustainability, and who can see a bright future ahead of the two countries. Thank you very much, Todd, for all your good work and the friendship. High Commissioner Ms. Bhushan, thank you very much for receiving me, for welcoming me here, for putting together such a wonderful event and program. And I hope that under your leadership we can take this relationship to the next level. I wish you well, I wish your work well, and I'm sure from what I see, the bond between you and our community here, it'll be very good for both countries that we take this relationship to the next level. And to all of you friends, namaskar, kia ora. Thank you very much for being here on a very auspicious day. Today is Guru Parab. Excellency, Guru Parab is a day where we truly celebrate India's unity, and we also celebrate respect for the elders, respect for the people who have brought India to where we are today. They are our forefathers who have shown us the path of goodness, shown us the path of family values, traditions, and therefore it's a very, very auspicious day. Thank you very much for sharing this day with us. And my greetings to all of you, and wish you well, wish you and your families a great future as we meet here today at the Mahatma Gandhi Center. Incidentally, I've just come after witnessing a very historic win of the Indian women's cricket team. While our sisters really do us proud and inspire future generations, I think in a way it also mirrors India's story today, where we are wanting to sit on the high table of success, wanting to take the country to newer levels of growth and development, very well articulated by the Honorable Prime Minister. And in that sense, there's so much that we share in common between New Zealand and India. Of course, cricket is a passion for both countries, but we also want to defeat the same country. Well, our ties are deep-rooted. We got independence in the same year, 1947, when we celebrated independence. I think over the years, the nations have come closer together. The 300,000 Indians living in New Zealand do us proud with your contributions to the country. Peaceful, rooted in your traditions, but mingling and mixing with the local community as one, adopting the home of New Zealand as your home, and the warmth with which the New Zealanders have welcomed you, have taken care of you, the way they took care of you during COVID, as family members would, is something that will always be remembered by all of us in India, and we are deeply grateful to all the people of New Zealand for the love and affection you shower on the Indian community in New Zealand. Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I'm told there's also a little India in Auckland. Papa Toto. Friends, at the Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi earlier this year, His Excellency Prime Minister Lakson had mentioned, and I'd like to quote, building a strong and diversified relationship is key to mitigate risk of dependence on a few. It's a very, very prophetic statement. India and New Zealand are two countries who recognize that we need to have friends across the world. We need to have newer and deeper friendships forged between like-minded countries and people. And therefore, there may be a distance between the two countries. But that's only a number. Our hearts are close. Our hearts beat for each other. And I don't think distance or time taken to get here is going to determine our relationship. In fact, if at all, the fact that even though we are so far in terms of distance, we are so much aligned in terms of thoughts, in terms of principles, in terms of ambition, brings us closer together. And I think that will define the New Zealand-India partnership in the years to come. After almost 20 years of failed efforts, Minister Todd and I have been tasked to strengthen this relationship with a well-meaning, fair, equitable and balanced free trade agreement, only as a foundation to a deeper relationship between the two countries, a very strategic partnership in defense, in aerospace, in innovation. The areas of interest between the two countries are manifold, be it education, be it cultural ties, be it our sporting institutions. There are limitless possibilities. And I think the recent visit of Prime Minister Lakson, where I think over 30 MOUs, I've never seen in a visit of a foreign leader, over 30 MOUs in different areas: defense, space, customs, education, horticulture, sports, elevating this partnership to newer heights and clearly demonstrating that both nations, two proud democracies, really desire to work together, to work as friends, and are optimistic about the future. Friends, India has changed in the last decade. From a fragile 5 economy, we are amongst the top 5. As the Prime Minister said, end of 27, early 28, we will be the 3rd largest economy in the world. In fact, the GDP is doubling every 8 years over the last 30 years. And over the next 22 years, by 2047, India's GDP is expected to be $32 trillion from $4 trillion today. And I say this with great confidence, sincerity, and responsibility, that we are all committed to achieving this. the nation of 1.4 billion people, with a large demographic dividend. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. Our population average age is about 28.5 years. A young population, full of enthusiasm, our youth aspiring for a better future, better quality of life for their children, connected with the rest of the world. Incidentally, 1 billion people in India are on the internet today. 1 billion. And in the digital age, today, they are seeing what is happening in Auckland. They are seeing what is happening in New York or San Francisco or London or Paris. That's generating aspirations. That's generating a desire for a better life and helping them to dream big and achieve big. And it is on the strength of this demographic dividend, a decisive leadership which Prime Minister Modi has brought to the table, democracy, the rule of law, which ensures that nobody will ever be discriminated and everybody will get fair play. The demand that 1.4 billion people generate, the diversity across the length and breadth of India, the 5 Ds, demography, democracy, decisive leadership, demand, and the fact that we have today an opportunity to engage with advanced nations, with developed nations around the world. If you have observed, in the last 3 or 4 years, we have entered into free trade agreements with Mauritius, UAE, Australia, the 5-nation European group of EFTA countries, Switzerland, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. With the UK, as recently as in July, we are in very active dialogue with the European Union, with the United States of America, with Oman, with Chile, with Peru, with Bahrain. Probably soon launch some more FTA negotiations, though honestly, Prime Minister, we've run out of bandwidth in my ministry. So we have people who are just moving from one negotiation to the other. And for me, between different video conferences, I really have to take care that I may not concede something to the Europeans that was intended for New Zealand. But friends, for all of us back home in India, this is a very, very important relationship. Prime Minister Narendra Modi sends through me his greetings to Honorable Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. He sends his greetings to all of you wonderful people who hold the India flag high. He sends his warmest wishes to you on this auspicious day of Guru Purab. And look at what the growth story of India entails. Way back in 2014, India was growing at 4%, and we had inflation at 8%. In fact, in 11, 12, 13, that period, we had double-digit inflation. Our foreign exchange reserves were slightly dodgy, very small. Our banking sector was in trouble. The mood of the nation was weak, and the Indian passport was not receiving recognition or respect when you traveled overseas. Prime Minister, when we came into government, a lot of us, frankly even me, we felt that we should come out with a white paper to tell the world what the situation is. Because we were worried that tomorrow the people may blame us for what was happening. But Prime Minister Modi refused to do that. He said, if you have a problem, you don't publicize it. You don't go around telling the world my business is in difficulty. You solve the problem. You resolve difficulties. You address challenges. And that's what we got onto doing from day one. After 10 years, India's inflation last month was 1.55%. Our growth, and as Honorable Prime Minister said, we are the fastest growing large economy in the world for the last 4 years consecutively. We'll continue to do so for at least a couple of decades more. Our banking sector is in very, very robust health. Since you come from the world of finance excellency, our net NPAs, even of government-run banks, the private sector banks are close to zero, but government-run banks, which do a lot of social obligation lending, is below 1%. Some at 0.18%, some at 0.45%. What we used to call technical net NPAs. I used to often wonder when I sat on the board of State Bank of India, our largest commercial bank, why don't we just provide for the rest and make it zero? But I was always advised there should be a technical net NPA of a small number. Our foreign exchange reserves are amongst the top 5 in the world, $700 billion today, and growing. And many of us understand that the stock market is a barometer of the future. To give you a context, in 2014 when we came into government, the index was at about 5,700. Today, it's upward of 25,000 in 11 years. As a minister, we can't enjoy the fruits of that as much as all of you can. But look up your investment portfolio, you may find India an interesting opportunity of the future. What I'm only trying to say is, from a fragile 5 to the top 5, it's been a relentless pursuit to promote ease of doing business, to attract investments through laying down the red carpet, eliminating red tapeism, making it easier to do business in India through lesser compliances, lesser tax burdens. We've continuously been reducing taxes, both direct and indirect, through less paperwork, no more threat of criminalization of laws which threaten you with legal action for small misdemeanors. The effort is to make India an attractive destination. And I have no doubt in my mind, a potential free trade agreement with New Zealand will not only strengthen our trade and investment ties, but will give a big message to the world that New Zealand and India have come closer together. They're going to work together for a better future for the people of New Zealand, for the people of India, providing new opportunities of business, creating new job opportunities, adding to the economic development of both nations. And for both of us, inclusive and sustainable development is at the core of our philosophy. And since we are so much aligned in our thinking, I have absolutely full confidence that the Kiwi Bharat story portends a very, very bright future. I am sure we will find areas of convergence where we can benefit from each other's knowledge, each other's technologies, each other's strengths. We will grab the low-hanging fruits and converge on what is good for the people of both countries. Our effort towards making India a developed, a prosperous nation by 2047, the mission that Prime Minister Modi has made a collective commitment of 1.4 billion Indians, Viksit Bharat 2047. When we celebrate 100 years of independence, Viksit Bharat is developed India. That is the mission that we have set out on, Your Excellency. And this is a vision of an India full of ideas, an India which is attractive for investment, an India which promotes innovation. And with that collective commitment of 1.4 billion people, I come here as the old Maori proverb says, He waka eke noa. We are all in this canoe together. And we'd love to be with New Zealand, both India and New Zealand, in this canoe together. Our people who work here, who live here, contributing to the New Zealand growth story. On our part, I can assure you, we deeply value your connect to the motherland as much as I would urge you to be faithful, to be loyal, to work hard for the land you have adopted as your own, your karma bhumi. Excellency, karma bhumi is the land we work in. And in India, we encourage all of us that while we should always remain deep-rooted to our place of birth called Janma Bhumi, we must be committed to the land that provides the meal to our children, our karma bhumi. And I can assure you, every Bharatiya, every Indian who serves and works in New Zealand will always be a loyal New Zealander, will always be a good human being in your country. Thank you very much. May God be with you. All the best. Namaskar.